I'll do it live.
What is up, everyone? It's Rich and Kelsey.
What's up?
Kelsey hates technology, but he loves me.
Well, you're very low tech.
I am, actually.
But you're dipping a toe in technology, man. You're doing that transhumanist stuff. You're gonna have like cyborg parts before you know it.
Oh, dude! Like, I mean, what's interesting is so the book got announced. I'm not going to sit and plug for.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Crystal Planet is the book that I'm working on for heavy metal, and it's with guitarist Joe Satriani. So it's a very
great fanfare, I might add.
Dude, well, the thing is there's so much press on it because Joe is such a famous guitarist. They keep sending me stuff from like Loudwire and Blabbermouth and like all these music sites. So it's pretty cool. But so I started the book traditionally. I did the first 5 pages like you would any comic book story. I did thumbnails on. I mean, I can't really show like a lot of like, but I do thumbnails like that. Just real. I showed it real quick. But anyway, like, you know, pencil just on typing paper, and then I'll start to tighten it up. But once I got into the heavy lifting, which was there's a pretty long sequence in the beginning of the story that's establishing things. I did it all in Clip Studio because there was no way that I was going to be able to pencil and ink this stuff and ever get through it. It was just like, you know, a cocktail party and all this stuff that was really like stuff that I had never ever sort of practiced. But I really use Clip Studio as a traditional tool. There's nothing that I'm really doing in it that's like exceptionally technology based,
right?
But I can adjust things quicker, you know.
I find myself in Photoshop or that just doing, you know, scribbly. Like I don't use the, you know, you kind of use the straight or the vanishing point tool, get some lines in there, and then I just freehand the rest, you know, as long as it try to keep it looking natural.
But I had no idea how to use Clip Studio. That's the funny thing is all I knew is basically like where the pen tools were. And that was it. And so like over a period of 2 weeks, I literally learned the whole program as much as I need to use it.
Well, I was telling you, I learned it through a trial by fire. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but like a few years back, I broke my finger. You can still see it's like all wonky shaped, or this one. And I was under deadline, so I had to still draw. And then I heard that Clip Studio had all those tolerance levels.
Oh, right,
where you could, it'll straighten out your line. So I had to like draw with my left hand. So I quickly learned how to use, Clip Studio. Back then it was Manga Studio.
Yeah,
it was right at the changeover. But so nothing gets you learning like having a broken finger, I guess.
Dude, well, it was like, I mean, I needed to produce art. I couldn't fuck around and be like super with stuff. It's like this shit was like it was a freight train that was taken off. But I don't even use the stabilization tools. I mean, I literally just use it as almost like, I wouldn't call it an editing program, but you know what I mean? It's like that's the benefit for me is that if I decide 4 hours into a page that I want a character 3% bigger, I can grab it, just move it bigger.
It's not a crutch. It's like a high-powered electric wheelchair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and like the cover I did traditionally. All the action pages so far I've done traditionally, and then when I get into issue 2, I'm going to go back to traditional, but I'm going to do the pencils in Clip Studio and then just lightbox it. But I just was not confident that I would ever be able to draw the stuff that I needed to draw. It was like people on a bus and city streets and stuff, and I was just like, "Fuck, dude, this is some shit that I wouldn't." I always call it the 100 bullet scenario. Like I could never draw 100 bullets, but now I probably could.
Yeah. That's an amazing work. We should like look into sometime. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
Gosh. Oh, he's so brilliant.
Look, I'm rocking a Deviant Art shirt.
Who's that?
Deviant Art. That's actually Art Germ. You would never know. Stanley Lau.
Oh, yeah.
Did a little thing, but this was for Artist Alley at Comic-Con probably 6 years ago, maybe a little longer.
Nerd.
So we are trying to do our image of the week. I have mine. So do you want
Yeah,
to?
go for it. Yeah,
Okay,
let's see
so
yours.
mine is a concept artist that posted these two beautiful. One is a study, and then one is his piece. Let me share my screen. And I need to go to
You
application
should
window.
you should probably see his artwork, not his piece.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the study. This is his name is
Oh,
John Park. So this is a study that he did, and it's like I grew up in Southern California, so I know exactly the time of day that this is. I recognize the sky. I mean, it's a really beautiful study. And then this is the fantasy piece that he did.
oh wow.
I love the reflections on the water and just the weirdness of the rocks. And I think it's just, it's really beautiful colors, and just
Yeah.
it made me kind of happy to see art that looked this attractive.
This is
Beautiful.
good because this actually has the same kind of color palette as what we're going into
I
with
know.
101 Dalmatians.
It was funny when I was showing it right now. I was like, oh wow, this actually kind of does tie in with it, which is a coincidence because I saw this before the art for 101.
Hey, Fragaboom gave you a super chat there.
Oh, did he? Oh, thanks, Dan. What did he did he ask something?
Oh, you can't see? Okay, Fragaboom, $1.99. You guys are my guys. Tribe, yo. And then shortly after that, he says, oh, and ass titty.
Kitty. So Dan's going to come on. We're going to do Lee Bermejo. Dan and myself are going to try to figure out something that we could do together. Let me get out of this full screen mode real quick, and I'm going to head back so that we can see your piece. But yeah, I want Dan to come back on, and we're going to do something together with Lee, because he's known Lee for probably as long as I have.
Y'all should do like an old old chat, old times. That's why I want to get like all the old image guys that are still around there, T-Bear and all those guys. Get everybody in there talking about some old dirt, some old good stories from the old days.
So you don't really follow social media that closely, which is ironic because I don't follow it that closely either, but you follow it even less than I do.
Yeah.
But Dan has been collecting vintage penciling tools, like drafting and pencils.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's the coolest stuff that I've ever seen. It looks like looking at like vintage guitars. They're these beautiful.
I love that stuff. I want to do a whole video on like this pencil sharpener. Like I want to do some research. This sharpener is probably as old as I am, from like the 70s, and it still will eat through a forest in like 20 minutes. I mean, it's killer.
But yeah, Dan's been buying some really, really beautiful vintage pencils, like drafting pencils and stuff like that. They're so cool looking.
Like old mechanical pencils, or
yeah. Dan, do you want to come on for a second? You don't have to stay for the whole show, but do you want to come on? Show us a pencil.
You're making me want to dig out all my old art supplies. I got stuff like that too, man. I love that stuff.
How do I send Dan a link? Do I have to email it to him?
Probably best to do it through the send him a message on Twitter. I don't know.
Let me see.
Email.
So how do I share link? Do I go into?
Well, at the bottom it says share screen. It should say like create a link or invite people.
Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so
then you can grab a link.
Dan, I'm gonna send you the link. And then I'll share the screen for you in 1 second. Then we'll get to 101 Dalmatians. Yeah, I see it now. The thing is, there was a pop-up that was blocking me from doing it.
Let's see, application. Here it is. All right.
Oh, is it? Oh, hold on. Here's the link. I have my StreamYard is set up through a different email. I have to switch emails really fast. Give me 1 sec, people. Sorry.
Yeah, I got this. One of my grandfathers was a draftsman for one of those airplane manufacturers back in like the 40s and 50s, and I inherited a lot of his stuff.
Okay,
so I got these old mechanical pencils and pencil sharpeners that are like so sturdy. They're still solid today. Okay, yeah, this is a sequence of still shots that's in this new anime called Promare from Studio Trigger, who I'm like obsessed with. I love all those guys. The top of the top right now, and have been. But I was watching that movie, and they were doing this flashback sequence, and there was like these still shots that look, they're very like hand done. You can see, I don't know if it's getting too blurry.
Is that typical, or do you think that's a digital screen tone?
Oh, I'm pretty sure all this is digital. I'm even positive that this is probably all digital too, all the inking, because they're doing, I don't know, there's like this right here. See, that's very digital,
right?
This white cut into black. So, but I love that. I love the speediness of it, and how it looks like it was probably just drawn and less inked than colored. It was probably like all kind of thought out at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's got great energy. And there's a whole sequence of these. I just picked the one that I kind of stare at the most.
Who's the artist? I'm sorry.
I don't know who the artist of this is, because it's for a film. So it's one of the, it's like, I don't think it's the director, Ima Ishii, because his stuff is way more cartoony. So I've never seen this particular style before from any of their individual artists. So I'm not really sure who did this stuff.
It's funny because everything is expertly done, but the head looks truncated to me, just the tiniest bit. There's not enough cranium on the top of the head from where the mouth and nose is, but past that, it's actually very badass.
It's kind of Joe Mad a little bit. Like, in a way, it's almost, when you see the other stuff too, it's almost like, it looks like Joe Mad influenced by anime, and then this guy influenced by Joe Mad's influenced by anime, because there's just a heavier ink style to this stuff. So but yeah, I love it. I'd love to do something like this. A lot of energy and
I like the what do you call it, the banister? Or hold on, Dan's here. What's up, Dan? Hold on. Hey, how are you?
Man.
I like Dan has to get on his bunny suit.
I do. It's like I'm over here working my ass off on these storyboards, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like listening to you guys, and I'm like, oh fuck. Gotta get the money.
So show some of your vintage pencils really quick.
These here, I mean, this is some of it. I can get. There's one that I have that is so old that there's no lead that will fit it.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see if I'll get that one out last. I mean, I have a bag. I have a bag of these things. The one that I can't find the one that I can't find the lead for, I know is like something like 1870. And the lead is either too big or too small. And the weird thing about old, here's my roll.
Look at that
right
Kelsey.
Here.
You got a full screen then. Get him on.
Yeah, this is the roll. I could give you guys a little bit of
full screen.
Up in the corner of my thing in your StreamYard. There you go. So this right here, this pencil right here, it doesn't seem like much, but if you research these, it's called an Eagle Black Warrior. It's a number 2. Yeah. These go for about $5 to $10 a pencil.
Damn.
These are the most featured pencil in all of literature. In fact, Stephen King mentions these in Misery. Says that author. So these are hard to get. It's a wood clench pencil. I collect wood clench pencils as well, but these are all pretty much brass pencils. So this is not too old. This is from the 60s. This one's called a Wherever, WEAR ever. It takes a 9 lead. This one isn't new. This is a Japanese bullet pencil.
I was gonna say it looks like a bullet.
Yeah, the bullet pencil is literally it takes a wood clench pencil and puts it in there.
I love it. That's
cool. These you can find pretty easily, like on jet pens or whatever. It's in there. This is one of my favorites. I've got another one over here, but I don't use it as much because I've been researching some things about like how far away your actual point is from your hand when you draw. Right. So this one is pretty old too. The way this one works is you pull the end and it telescopes out This is from early 1900s. This one, and then you push it and it goes back in.
Does
and
that have lead that you actually put in there? Like,
yeah, this lead, I believe, is a simple 1.8. But again, in my researching of the leads, I found that there are not the same old sizes that we're used to, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9. This is one of my favorites. This one,
playing the metric system.
Yeah, this one looks a lot like that other one, but it comes out of the thing. You press the back, and the pencil comes out, and it holds your standard 2 millimeter, which is what we use in lead holders. Like the Stadler and the Kohinoor.
Yeah.
This is early 1900s.
Wow.
It goes back in the same. You press it, you push it back in.
This is why you don't mess with artists, because that could be a weapon right there.
It's a shank. It's a shank. This is a Uwanta.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's a Uwanta, named after this Indian that's on here. This is again early 1900s.
Dude,
the way this holds a 3 millimeter lead. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way you put the lead in is you unscrew this, and there's a claw that holds this. So in order to extend the lead, you have to pull it and get the lead out. No pun. So there's that one. This one here, which is my favorite, because the lady that I bought this from, this is a Super Right. This, I believe, is from the 40s.
Damn.
It's gold filled. It takes a 9.0.
That's beautiful.
You can see the lady that I got this from wrote me. She was so sweet. She said, "This was in my mother's desk for the last 40 years. I'm so glad somebody appreciates it." So I literally call this pencil Mother.
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
My oldest pencil that is usable, because that other one from the 1870s, I can't get a lead that fits it. This one is weird. You could see it's got a cobra.
I love it. That's my favorite. Like, that one looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's Cobra
Kai.
Yeah, it's gold filled. It says Al Sanders Palmery, so it was it belonged to somebody at a palmery back in the day. This, by all impressions, looks like it takes a 3. But I found out that they also make a 3.15, and this would not take a 3. This takes a 3.15, which is near impossible to find. It's similar in that you have to screw it down to get it, but this gets a real nice line. Here's another one. This was a motherfucker. This is a Super Right. It's got a little place for an engraving and stuff.
Yeah.
So you could get, when you look for vintage leads, you can find something called a 1.036. That's, if I did this, the 1036 slides right out. And it's 1036 is very common in antique pencils. This is probably from the 30s. This doesn't want those. This wants a 1.18. And those are a bitch to find. You can get them, but to get the vintage stuff, and this is another thing that I was talking to you about, Rich, is that certain leads, the way they make them now, it's not the same way they used to make them. And then this one is absolutely brand new. This is made by a German company called Kaweco. I just happen to like it. It's solid brass, and it takes the standard 2.0 lead, but it extends like a clicker pencil. See that?
These pencils will be here long after we're gone. Those are amazing.
Oh yeah. These are. I consider this like my my magical roll of goodness. And then
you're the Joe Bonamassa of pencils. If you know, like, Joe Bonamassa is famous for collecting rare guitars. You're the Joe.
Okay. Yeah. And then hold on a second. I'll show you guys some other stuff real quick. This is how rare those Eagle rares, those Eagle pencils are. I buy them used on eBay, like I found one, the very first one that I ever found. You guys are going to be like, "What? You're fucking nuts."
I read Misery, and I remember Stephen King talking about the Eagle pencil.
Yeah. The Eagle Black Warrior, the very first one I bought. Let me see. Here it is. This is hilarious to me, and my wife thinks it's funny, and I say that kind of sarcastically.
Right.
Is this one?
Oh, right.
I paid $4 for this sharpened pencil.
Right.
But it was the first time I found one, and like I was telling you, Rich, when someone knows what they have,
right,
they're like, it's $9. Right. And when someone doesn't know what they have, they're like, oh, here's a dozen for 10.
Right.
I look for that. Eagle also makes one that's really great called an Alpha. And I don't know if you can see, but they're a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Right? They have a bigger profile for when you draw.
Yeah.
So then the other thing I collect, because I collect those pencils. Let me get the other wood ones. Hold on a second.
No worries. We always vamp for like 30 minutes before we start the show.
I'm wondering. I'm really curious in his research. What is the oldest mechanical? Like, when was the mechanical pencil created?
Right.
You know.
What's interesting too is him discovering what leads fit into the pencils, because that's a work of art in itself to figure that stuff out.
That's a pain in the ass, man. And what I ended up doing is I went on eBay and I bought a lot, not like many of, but a lot, like a parking lot, from this guy who I guess his grandpa was a draftsman or something, and he had all the different varieties. So these are Dixon. These are they're all based on numbers, but a Dixon film marker 2025. A box of these, if they know what they have, goes for about $100. And I got them for 10 because I'm that kind of guy. I'm Portuguese. What do you want? These here, Neil Adams notoriously used these, the Eber Faber Mongol number 2s. This is what he drew all the classic shit in the late 60s and early 70s in. This was his pencil of choice.
That's crazy.
Check eBay for a box of Mongols. Get surprised.
I'm curious, how much do you allow yourself to indulge in those pencils?
You mean to use them?
Yeah, like
every single day.
Are you worried that you're going to run out? No,
I use them every day, but I cycle through them. Because I don't know. My wife thinks I might have autism, and she might be right. Because I go hard, right? Like, let me find. Here's another one.
She married you.
Yeah, that's why I have 4 kids. Hold on a second.
Well, like it's interesting too. Is I wonder, like, I would be inspired differently by different pencils, especially if you know the history behind them. I think that it would actually pull different drawing ideas out of me, because I know my guitars do that.
Well, they totally changed the way I draw. Like, when I draw with a thin mechanical pencil, it's a whole different art style than when I'm using like a non-repo blue.
Right.
Here we go.
I mean, there's no reason why animators use those repo blues, because it makes you draw real like bloopy and soft.
Because, like,
you guys want to see the most beautiful old school pencil box in the world? This is a 1939 Dixon Teffonite El Dorado. It's called the Master Drawing Pencil. Look at how cool this is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is a dozen. This is from 1936.
Just about to say.
Look at that. Look at that. They're unsharpened in there. But no, man, I literally draw like every night after I put in like 12, 14 hours, Black Flag, Doom Patrol, Legacies, Stargirl, Raising Dion. These are all the jobs that I have. I'm Jamaican. I don't know if you guys know that. But I draw near the TV. Hold on.
What I was going to say is I have a bunch of different guitars, and like if I play this guitar, I play differently than I do on my
basically every night to unwind. I do these.
Oh yeah.
I literally just sit there with my wife, and I just like with these pencils, I'll just unwind with this sort of stuff.
Minecraft.
And then, but here's the thing. When you guys were talking about leads, right, and how I learned about them, these are all the look at that. These are the Eldorados, but they're refill leads.
Oh wow!
Right, and then
I love those containers.
Oh, they're great. But here, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't spill them out. Maybe I can just tilt my camera. Tilt the camera.
Oh yeah.
These are all different leads.
Oh yeah.
From back in the day, including like
Scripto.
Scripto made good ones. Oh yeah, they're like this long because a lot of the pencils I have, like the ones I haven't shown, and I should be showing them. But I don't know why I'm not. There's
pencil.
My Kirby pencil is in a room, in a box, in bubble wrap.
What's his? He just did like a number 2, right? Or what did he?
It said the one I have is gold. It's about that long. It says something Auto Parts 25th anniversary 1973. So it's from 1973. So I know it's a later date. But that my Kirby pencil, yeah, I've got that in a box. But Auto Point, really great company.
I've seen those.
Yeah, they're all twist based. So the leads are really short because the actual lead sits in here. They also made something which is a lot of fun. I wish I could. I know I have some. I haven't set this one up yet. It is it's an Auto Point dual point, and these are really cool. There's a pencil on each end, right?
Oh yeah.
We actually got the exclusive on this pencil reveal.
Yeah. So this is what I like. I also collect like weird, super esoteric pencils. Like this one here is made by a company in Japan called Nobil.
Ooh.
The reason why this one is considered like a cool pencil is it has a telescoping
nice.
Sort of like, I'm doing a presentation, over here we are attacking, and then write down your notes.
Now, do you have a pipe pencil? Someone asked.
No, but I do have.
That would be a great one.
That would be cool. I saw this one and I showed it to my wife and she said, "Don't be stupid." It was a mechanical pencil on one end and it was a lighter on the other.
Right.
And I was like, "Babe, think of how much time I would save." And she's like, "You're stupid."
You need like a James Bond pencil, like one bullet,
blow darts, and yeah.
Well, the pins that when you turn them upside down, the dress will come off the lady. Like, do they have any pencil versions of those?
I wish they did. Now I have one that's got like a Speed Racer. Here's the 1870s one, guys.
Oh wow.
This one is beautiful. It's got like a little gem on the end. It looks like a magic wand. And the way the lead comes out is you do this, but I can't get anything to fit in this.
So that was my question. You were out. I was wondering when the first mechanical pencil was made. That's obviously a mechanical pencil from 1870s. When did you say?
1870s. Yeah, this one is 1870s. It's the oldest one I got, but I cannot find the lead that'll fit because the a 9 is too small. The 1.036 is too big.
You might have autism.
I might, but look maybe one of these days I'll do like little contests. Because I have leftovers. These are from like the 20s here.
Can I enter?
They're shorter. Look how, like, if you were to write with them, look how short they are. And they were used for clerks, right? Like this is technically how they would go.
That's just how small people used to be.
Yeah, they go around your neck. So you would be like a librarian. You whip it out and do it like that. Here's a look at this one. This is the box for a brand new Auto Point dual tip. It's got the lead in it. It's got the instruction manual. This is one of those good ones. This is some Faber-Castell lead 1.18 from Germany. This one, these are pretty old. But yeah, man, I like this shit. I don't know what it is.
What country do you think for vintage stuff made the highest quality pencils? Is it the Germans?
I would say
the Japanese.
No, it was. I mean, now the Japanese, they're hardcore. They're literally like hardcore about it.
Yeah.
I would say I would give it to the United States first, and then I would give it to Germany second, because Germany they had Faber-Castell. They had a couple other great companies, but we had Dixon, we had Eagle, we had a few other really great companies, all East Coast. Like Dixon, from what I understand, Dixon was out of New Jersey, and there was another company. Trying to remember, they were out of Atlanta. They're out of Atlanta. I think. Mongol was out of Atlanta, but yeah, look, Dixon, these ones from the 30s, these were made in Jersey, in the Joseph Dixon Crucible Company. That just sounds like a badass company, you know. Anything that's got Crucible in it, you know. But yeah, that's my I don't know, that's my weird ism. Like, you know, if you have
that with us,
no problem. Like I get real passionate about old art. And I get real passionate about old art supplies.
Well, that's why we love you.
Nah, man. And this is a new pencil. If you guys are Faber-Castell fans, they labeled this the perfect pencil.
Wow.
And you can buy these. They come like this. If you buy the perfect pencil, they're kind of pricey, but this is a protector, so it protects the point. You can put this on the back end if you want. The end of this thing comes off and it becomes a pencil sharpener.
What?
And it's got a nice little clip. And these are available. These you can actually go online and still get these. It's called literally the perfect pencil.
Does everyone come with that cap?
Yeah. And unless if you want to get them cheaper without the cap, you have to search for perfect pencil refills. And you can buy them. You can buy them by 6 or 3. The cheap. God, I feel like a fucking crazy person. If you want them cheaper, look for the brown ones. The brown ones are actually half the price. They're the same pencil. They're just brown, and they're called pocket refills. They're still made by Faber-Castell, but they're cheaper.
Hey, as a famous photographer said about cameras, the best pencil you have
is the one you've got.
Is the one you have on you.
That's right. But no, I mean, I think out of that the leather case that I have, I put all of my favorites in there. But my hands down, my 100% favorite of all favorites is the one that I call Mother. That one,
yeah, Mother.
Like I love the Cobra one. That's probably like number 2. It's a bit bulky though, coming in at a 3.15 millimeters, which, you know, go search for those leads. I had to specially order those. You know, I thought it was a 3 mil at first, and then I bought a 3 mil and it just fell right out. And then 3.15, which is like, it's indiscernible by the eye. If you hold a 3 and a 3.15 next to each other, they look indiscernible. But when you put them in that pencil, one stays, the other one slides right out.
They're talking about how much the perfect pencils cost, around $15 to $20.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're good though. They are good. It's a B lead, but it's a firm B lead that doesn't smudge that much. And I've learned a lot about lead grades. You know, when I was a kid, I used to think that a number 2 pencil was a 2B. But a number 2 pencil is actually HB. HB is a number 2, which is crazy. So when you look for a number 2 pencil, or if you have a mechanical pencil, you're going to look for HB, and then there is another type of lead in the olden days that they call an F, which is essentially it's a 2.5. So it is a little bit harder. It goes, for some reason, it's a higher number, but it's a harder lead. So
Jim and Lee Bermejo both used F. I'm not saying like specific or like only, but I'm nearly sure that both of those guys had F lead around, which it's kind of like somewhere between a HB and maybe a B, HB and a B, somewhere there.
Yeah. It's not as soft as an HB, and it's not as hard as an H. It's right in between. And some of the Mongols I have, like I have this, man, again, every time I reveal this stuff, I do see it through your guys' eyes that I might be a little nuts. But I like, this is an old Auto Point right here, but it's a Napa Auto Parts.
Oh,
a lot of the Auto Points. This one and another one I have are awesome because they're from a place called the Blair Bridge. You guys ever see that covered bridge? Very famous covered bridge. It's called the Blair Bridge. Well, they used to have a I know. Sorry, Kier CC. He's like, what's this pink bunny stuff? I have to. It's mandatory. You think this is a choice?
Kier knows. Kier's got to be joking. There's no way.
Yeah. The reason I like this one is it's a 1942 calendar. So this was a souvenir from the Blair Bridge from 1942. It's a classic Auto Point, short lead Auto Point. I have another one in here. I wish it would just reveal itself quite quickly, but it's not. It's Mr. Peanut, and he's like, on the end of the pencil.
It sounds like he's digging in one of those old pencil boxes we used to have in school.
Here's a 1941 Blair Bridge. Let's see. Black Wing. You guys know about Black Wings, right? The old Black Wings are classics, man. This is Chuck Jones' favorite pencil.
Oh, wow.
Not Chuck Jones from Extreme, but Bugs Bunny Chuck Jones.
Yeah.
I have to be very specific about that. Let's say this is classic Dixon. Try Condoroga. You guys can get these anywhere. These are you can get these at stores. But these are the new pencils nowadays are Hecho and Mexico.
Do you have the football pencils that used to come in the pencil machines when you were like a kid?
No, but I mean, I'm hardcore. In fact, like I'll go and buy. Where are you, Mr. Peanut? He's not in here. He's not in this batch. But here is a Mongol number 2. This is like a $9 pencil right here.
Whenever I hear Mongol, I just keep thinking of the Hells Angels.
Right? Yeah. Where, man, Mr. Peanut must be in another place, another bag, another thing. But and then I've got one of the brown replacements. It'll probably look orange on camera. But this is the brown replacement for the perfect pencil. And like I said, these are half the price, but they're literally the same pencil.
Interesting.
How nervous are you to use that eraser for the first time?
These? Well, these are first off, man, I don't erase, Kelsey. But I don't know. I mean, this isn't vintage. These, you can get these pretty cheap. And then the other thing that I'll do too, because my kids, they like stealing pencils. I bought Dixon makes these crayons de golf. They're golf pencils, right?
Far out.
Yeah, and you can buy a whole. How many come in here? It's like I'm gross.
You have
It's
enough for 2 lifetimes.
144 of these things. You can see I use them. Look how short that one is. But these, like, whenever my kid goes, "Can I have a pencil, Dad?" I just grab one of these.
That's perfect scale. Yeah.
For pencils that I sharpen, I actually use them pretty much down to like literally where I can barely hold them.
Yeah, and that's why you want to go and get one of those bullet things.
Yeah.
That they also, if you go on eBay, there are a lot of vintage pencil holders. You know, they're like pencil extenders, so you can just pop them in and tighten them down.
Now everyone knows what to get you if they ever want to surprise you with like a little random gift. Is some pencil? You'd be like the pig in shit.
I would. I know it's a weird thing. Like my wife for Christmas, she's like, "I don't know what to get you."
Pencil.
She got me a sweatshirt that makes me look like a cup of noodle. Like ramen on it, and then she got me one of those perfect. I forget what they're called, like pit bull shavers. To shave your head with.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it's cool. It works.
It sounds like the perfect gift should be a vintage pencil sharpener, maybe.
Oh, vintage. But no, I like anything like that. I mean, I searched eBay. There was one I was looking at, but it was just like, I'm what do you call it? Sorry, Sarah Frazetta wrote me back. She's going to be on your show. I'm super stoked about that.
No, it's going to be good.
I love her, man. She's great. She holds the torch for her grandfather.
I think so too. She's repping it very, very well.
Yeah. In fact, I got a Kirby. Not Kirby. I have a Kirby, but a Frazetta original that I took it to her first to get it vetted. Right.
Yeah.
These are actual Frazetta figure studies, and I reached out to her, and she says, "Yep, those are real."
Wow.
What kind of pencil does he use?
I would gather just from the looks of it, standard number 2. It's not sharpened. There's not a lot. What's that?
You would sharpen it with like a knife,
Yeah, I was gonna say. Here's my Kirby.
Damn.
But you want to see the coolest part of this Kirby? The reason I bought this has nothing to do with this guy on the motorcycle. I'll show you why I bought this, and then you'll go, "Oh, I get it."
How much? When did you buy that Frazetta?
It wasn't too far ago. It's like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it was cheap too because it's not signed.
Right.
And it came with a certificate of authenticity signed by his son Bill.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what's cool, right? You got this guy on a motorcycle back here, but check this out: an unfinished Thor.
I was going to say, wow.
Isn't that cool?
Damn.
So you can actually see like Kirby's thinking.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's what it's all about, man. Like
such a dynamic silhouette on that pose.
Yeah. Super nut. What up, Wise Guys? I see Wise Guys in the chat. He's a good dude.
Okay, so we're gonna get into 101 Dalmatians because we're 47 in.
You guys are supposed to be handling Disney stuff. Okay, here's my 101 Dalmatians thing, and then I'm gonna bounce out because I gotta get back to work. Milk Call is my favorite. There you go.
Milk Call.
That's all I have to say.
There you go.
Out of the 9 old men's, Milk Call, then of course Frank and Ollie come in there, and then you got Mark Davis. But Milk Call is number one. Number one.
You know what, Dan? Since you are a bona fide, legitimate storyboard artist, you know what would be fun is we should revisit one of the other older classic Disney movies, and all 3 of us could do it together because you would have a real expertise in terms of layout and all that stuff too. It would be real interesting to have you. So think of an old Disney movie that you would want to do.
Oh shoot, man! Probably Sword and Stone, man.
I was gonna say,
because that's another big bad
Bill
Milk
Pete.
Call.
See, that's it. You go, Mark Davis.
Pete.
You go, all those guys. I'm a story guy. I go, Bill Pete.
I was gonna say Pete was the story man. He knew how to set these things up, and those other guys knew how to make a move. But yeah, Pete was the guy, and of course Joe Ranft before he tragically passed away was another good one.
Yeah,
the guy over at Pixar drove off a cliff or some shit like that.
What?
Yeah, that's how Joe Ranft died. They were he and a bunch of guys were driving back from something, and they drove off a cliff by accident. Yeah, big loss.
Oh.
A major loss.
That was DreamWorks did that. I ain't buying that for a second. That was an accident.
You think
that was Katzenberg? That was Katzenberg all the way.
Fucking with the brakes. Fucking with the brakes.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. I'll still be listening in the background, but I do got to get back to work. Thank you for listening to my ramblings and being so kind.
Right,
we will see you soon.
Thanks for hanging out.
You got it, man.
Thanks, Dan.
Take it easy. All right, see
you. Okay, bye. Okay, Kelsey, let me get back to the two shot.
There we go. That was fun. Great little aside. I love getting into all those tools.
That was really interesting. All right, you ready to look at 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah, let's look at something that was probably created with a lot of those old tools.
I was thinking it's actually a pretty interesting transition. So so let me share the screen.
Everybody like that in the chat, little fragga?
That was fun. Okay, so let me shut this, and then we're going to the front end of the movie.
Man.
So anyway, we're not going to focus so much on the dogs and all that, but anyway, I figured it would be rude of me to not at least initially come in with a Dalmatian.
What's fun? It's a great story. I really like the movie itself, but it's so hard to look past just how fantastic the design is and the execution of everything.
Yeah. Okay, so talk about the look of the animation, Kelsey.
I mean, I'm just blown away. There's a very much a 60s aesthetic in regards to this, and I don't really know what that is. It's very New York. I noticed that a lot of animators and designers and cartoonists from New York in the 60s were exploring a lot of this color outside the lines and using thin pen line without brush thicks and thins, and I just love it. You see a lot of guys in magazine illustration doing this stuff at this time. In fact, that might have been where it started with a lot of those guys.
It reminds me of a lot of the children's books that I would see in grade school when there was an artist and poet named Shel Silverstein. Some of the Dr. Seuss stuff I think has a little bit of this look. Even the animation, like the Grinch and stuff like that has this scratchy line work. So explain to them why this looks different than a tightened up Disney film.
Well, what's funny is it started, I think, as a way to save money because in this time in the 50s and 60s they were starting to lose money, and as a way to speed that up, they would pencil it a little bit tighter, and then make the photocopier was just coming in, and they had this idea to photocopy the pencils onto the acetate to be colored instead of going to ink, which is traditionally what you would always do is have a cleanup artist, and then sometimes I guess they're the same, probably different now, or they'll clean up artist and then they'll ink it up and then color it. So this stuff, I think
it's very
this is the one.
It's pencils with no inks, and then they just turned it black.
Yeah, was that this one as well? Because I know that they started doing that in the 70s, but
Robin Hood.
Okay, yeah.
There's 3 or 4 movies, maybe someone in the chat.
Jungle Book, I think. And Aristocats.
Oh, did
that way, but that was much later.
But you can really see it's got this very fine line, and
what I love too is that it goes with the aesthetic that kind of we've been talking about for a while on this show, is that the kind of roughness and getting back to kind of where it's obviously more hand done, and this combines that with that animation cleanliness, that aesthetic of that is very popular, from the 2000s up to now, this animation style, which has gone more into anime. But I love this kind of look because it's clean yet messy.
Well, there's a wonkiness to the line work that you'll see where it's like, if you look at the cushion on this chair right here, it's been crunched and it's got this nice stretched out S curve. There's just an organic quality to really all the stuff. It's not so based on
well, see how the stuff next to when you were zoomed in there, you could see all the tools for the fireplace and how it's blocked in with just this shape of a color. It's not like, and I love that. I always feel like I'm coloring outside the lines or whatever when I'm doing that. It's
like the blue around this dust thing. It's just very haphazardly put down. The green spills into the ottoman a little bit. It's very, very trippy.
But it looks right when you pull back. You can't see any of that.
Yeah,
it all folds together and works.
Such a great shot. The camera angle choices that they use, the directing in this is so good and so creative.
Well, and they everything in this when Fraga was talking about Sword in the Stone, that had a lot of this kind of quality to it too, where the environments that they're in are just chock full of storytelling. Like everything in this shot says everything about your characters that you're watching.
Yeah, the guy is like a consumed musician. He's a bit of a slob, unorganized. His shoes are down here.
Well, I love that he loves golf. He's got his golf clubs there. I don't think you ever see that in the movie. He's not playing golf in the movie, but that adds to his character. And wiffle ball, look at that.
Yeah, look at the little thermostat right here with the pipe. That's so funny.
And that weird picture on the wall. I mean,
yeah, what is that? That's super creepy. It's very Picasso.
It's like a vestigial twin on somebody there.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, there's a shot coming up with him in his study that's so good. Oh, look at this, man.
God. So great. I mean, just I feel like I have to go in and do every leaf, but the impressionistic quality of this says probably more about the environment than any obsession that I go through with drawing every different trees and different whatever.
Yeah,
none of that's important, when it comes to just the overall.
Oh, it's so good. It was really actually fun going through and picking these stills out. I mean, both of them have just been amazing. This is a funny little shot. They do this sequence where there's a bunch of humans that sort of reflect their dogs or vice versa.
It's true.
Yeah, but this was pretty funny.
And really notice the color, how everything's green, but the white of the dog in the background pops, them being reddish brown. The reds in them pop against that.
Yeah, the reflection.
The red leaf.
Yeah,
look how it goes. It goes all designy.
Yeah, I mean those rocks aren't even over here. It's like a completely different reflection. I don't see what that is, but it works. It looks fine.
Yeah, they're just making shapes, and your eye just reads it as reflection.
Yeah, I like it, actually how they lit the grass over here too to focus on them a little bit. Brightness. And this is beautiful. These daisies or whatever they are on the grass right here with the yellow.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you don't have to. It doesn't have to be exactly daisies. Your mind just reads that as like a flowers, tall grass. It's great.
I mean, look, there's a reason that I picked you for Blaster Kid. We're gonna be able to do all this shit. We can flip the script on comic books.
Oh yeah. This is so. I love the character design in this too. It just the balance of everything is so good. Even though we're only looking at like legs.
I love his shoes. He's got those big, like I call them kind of like the Silvestri feet. It's kind of like Norman Rockwell. There's a certain style of that, like that old fashioned shoe. I actually draw them even now just because I think it looks cool. But I like to draw shoes that way.
It's so funny the similarities especially comic artist journeys. There's some flag poles, that we all hit, when we discover Toth, when we discover when we finally start looking at like Kirby in a new way. And then this is one of those movies when we all see this and go, holy crap, and start
you get it, you get it on a different level. It's like I used to talk about this a long time ago, that it's like there's a process that you go through where it's like you hear the words and you understand what it means at a certain time, but then like 5 years later those same words will have a different significance and it gets deeper and it expands.
I'm looking at stuff now like the shape language of these characters. They're all wet, so everything's like wider at the bottom than it is at the top.
Right. Yeah, that's a good, like his pants, how they're bowing out down there, and even the
shirt. And it's interesting.
What I liked about this particular shot is I've been explaining to people that you can describe things in like three folds, two shapes. And here's a good example of it right here. Is if you look at his sleeve, it's like the artist was able to show you enough that you understand that this is a sleeve. And the same thing with the shape here. It's, if you can't have shape language that's clear, this simple, you're really not going to be able to figure out how to do a bazillion lines there. You're going to place them in the wrong places. So learn this first.
Yeah, it's funny because if you look at a large, probably almost anything I do with somebody with clothes on, I have those same base wrinkles right there. Right. I start at that.
I'm going to open two here for a second because this ties in with the panel afterwards. I use this as the thumbnail, but it's worth seeing both of them. Oops.
The church, a little bit, the coloring kind of reminds me of Electra Assassin, or not Electra Assassin. Electra Lives Again, the Frank Miller.
Exactly. No, it's a 1000%. That's why I wanted to point it out. So here's
okay.
It's a panning shot. It starts from the top and it scrolls down. So this is what you see initially, and then it moves to this. But it's very, very Lynn Varley definitely was vibing on this, whether you knew it or not.
Well, they were in New York. I mean, they were. I guess they had access to just a lot more influence in a big city. But yeah, they had to have been influenced by this stuff too. I mean,
but yeah, so it's a crane shot, and we move from the top of the church down to them getting married, and then it pulls out, and you actually see the two dogs sort of quote unquote getting married too.
Yeah. I love the multiplane effect, that blurry foreground.
Yeah, with the rose inlaid curtains is a nice little touch.
There's a Japanese artist, and I can't remember his name, but I know that gosh, man, I'll have to see if I can find him, but he still does this kind of stuff.
Well, when we looked at or I did a video on who's the guy that did Totoro? I'm spacing out. Miyazaki.
Oh, Miyazaki, yeah.
Miyazaki's drawings at times kind of are reminiscent of this look a little bit. At times,
he does his, like, little watercolor studies. Yeah.
Right. And like some of his, like, he'll draw like a little village or a town and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's kind of approached this way.
There's no straight lines. It's all just It's
look
very Mignola as well.
Look at that. It's so cool. These crooked little windows and stuff like that. It looks so good. And I love him sitting there at the piano in the window. I mean, what a great shot.
There's so much visual interest and just the shapes of the buildings in the ambient sort of distance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. In the background. Yeah. It's really gorgeous. And I mean, it's the perspective. I mean, you can see it's all going to like a vanishing point, somewhere like right around there, it's trying to pull you into that panel.
I mean, this is a real trick to know what you need in there and what you don't. They don't even draw the buildings behind those trees over there, but you still get the impression that they're back there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good shit. Kelsey and Rich will never steer you guys wrong. If we pick something, there's a damn reason for it, right, Kelsey?
Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, like this. I mean, I'm still obsessed with this. So this is a no-brainer. In fact, I'm looking at it now. Just this could be dangerous.
Well, when I was
start redrawing Nexus, like starting today.
This is such good visual vitamins for your brain, not you, but anyone, because the thing is, it's going to give you somewhat simple ideas for very, very dynamic shots.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this is not even that dynamic, but it's so well composed. You got the lamps in the foreground. You got the fact that he's kind of up, on the stereo. There's so much visual interest in this. All the lines are pointing to him too. That's another thing. The roof.
Is everything else is going straight up and down. So it's 2-point perspective. They're not really pulling a 3-point perspective on the shot. Maybe slightly, but it's very subtle. It's
beautiful.
Good. Yeah. Okay. I kind of want to go in order of the movie. So, this is.
I love this stuff. That with the way they did the car, where they rotoscoped it.
Yeah.
It just was so menacing.
Yeah, and the street is so beautiful.
See that like swath of color on the background buildings there? It's just like where the light's hitting it, but it just looks like it goes across the foreground. Yeah, it goes across. It's almost like they just painted across the whole thing, but it makes it look kind of like the light's hitting.
What's interesting is if you really look close, you might not see it as clear as me. They missed a spot of color right here a little bit, or they intentionally left it like a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Almost get the impression that these are like acetates, and like this was probably the base color, and the stuff that's getting darker might be secondary pieces of acetate over it. Is that possible or no?
This could very well be done the way they used to color comics, like you're saying, where they penciled out the backgrounds and then put them on an acetate and then painted on the blue line underneath.
Right. It's interesting.
And that way you do it. Like when you look at old comics, you see sometimes they'll go outside of the line. It's because they're painting on blue line and they have to kind of put the black over it just to check. But this, they just let it go. It's like, we want that look. So just paint it really fast. Try to stay in the, in the bounds of the lines. But
so obviously the car comes down the street here, but as it's turning, what I really like that's not subtle really, but the rocking of the carriage versus
all the weight.
Yeah. So the car is leaning. It's a beautiful little sequence to watch because this is not, it's not a side view. This is the center of the car is right here.
I missed this technique too because they used the last time I saw it used was Rescuers Down Under with McCleef's like big truck thing, but they were experimenting with CG and they pretty much went CG with that stuff after that. This is great.
I love the uniqueness of this little podium by the window, just the little shape that they gave it. It's just interesting. The chair here is great. The TV is a funny shape. It's kind of like a Chuck Jones. It's kind of got like a bowed out shape. Even the legs are actually quite animated. The position that they're at.
And the clarity of their poses. They're very very clean silhouette.
And here's a nice power shape right here. One just really effective fold in the shirt.
Yeah,
moves you right to him.
You can almost see the action line going from his top of his hand down that fold, down the curve of his body and into his leg. Yeah, exactly. It's perfect action line.
Yeah. This is why we're the best YouTube channel ever.
Oh wait, you got another. Oh, it's Fragaboom, $1.99. This is the best art lesson I've ever had.
This was the shot that I was talking about. I love this panel, or not our panel. This still.
Yeah, this is so good because it's so rough.
He's got a little attic room where he works in, and he's got the metronome and his cello.
That's after the baby was born. Yeah, you got
right. They moved on to the attic. Oh, look, there's his tennis racket or whatever it would be.
I can relate to all the stacked coffee cups on the radio in the background.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's got his pipe.
This is an artist consumed with their work.
Yeah. Dude, it's so good.
I love that old chair.
The shape of the door is really interesting because it's kind of bending. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
It's very wonky, but I actually love the look. And they didn't even color the doorknob. Look on this side. If you look, the doorknob it never got hit with color.
I might start playing with this, just like throwing in color like that.
Yeah,
but it might look sloppy as a still image. You know, it might look like they just crapped this out.
Well, look, you've got carte blanche on Blaster Kid to try whatever you want. Oh, here she is. This is great. I love the fact that she smashes the nanny with the door. I thought that was kind of funny.
See, Fraga would know this too if this was Mark Davis or Milk Call. I'm pretty sure this is Mark Davis designed Cruella de Vil here. She's such a great design.
Yeah, I look at the picture frame on the wall. It's like totally crooked, and it's just funny.
It probably went crooked. I haven't seen this movie in years, but I bet when she like opens the door with like great force, the picture is like,
yeah.
Although it looks like a painting and not a frame or a.
And here's another thermostat by the front door. It's funny. You can see the gas
I wonder
house. I've never
old
seen
gas. Yeah, that's interesting.
They have a little doorbell up here too. That's funny.
Great, good detail.
Oh, yeah, the living
room. It's so funny how, like, when you zoom in, when you get these tiny shots of them, you see the simplified shapes even more simplified.
Her face is so bizarre, the shape of it. I mean, that's kind of like what they've got going on.
It's funny how this kind of propagated into let's see, of course the old witch from Emperor's New Groove looks a lot like this, but also from Aladdin, Jafar has this extreme quality. As the villain, you can really push him.
Well, what's the Lady in the Bugs Bunny cartoon? That one witch that has bobby pins like flying off. She's awesome, but her head is kind of shaped like this.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, like her chin is like kind of. She's got like whatever mole with thing. But they're very weird shapes. Like it's like when you pull it out of context, you see it more for what it is.
It's really difficult to do. Really extreme cartoony characters in like comics. I've seen it done a couple times. Like the Spumco did these great books, and you really have to focus on making really great eye-pleasing shapes for that one shot, to have it really work. That's great. God, you go right to the light.
And this
is when the puppies were born.
Yeah, this is like it's the reflection of the yellow is kind of like a really interesting kind of green color.
Yeah, they drop down the tone.
I like the light coming down the street this way, lighting up things.
Yeah.
It's actually, this is beautifully done too. The light coming from above hitting the top planes of that stuff is really, really nice effect.
Just where ambient, yeah.
It's almost like if the moon was up here, it's going to light the rain, that's on the flat plains. It's kind of interesting. I find at some point going through parts of Corpse Bride, even though that's 3D.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I saw, the other one he did, of course, the Christmas.
Yeah. There's some really beautiful grayscale sections of Corpse Bride that I like. The color stuff was a little too much for my taste, but
what's interesting here to me is that I remember this movie being very like earth tones and browns, but there's a lot going on here. For instance, like everything is this blue green kind of quality in the background, and then they're all warm tones, so it really separates them.
Yeah.
So even in this much more muted tone, you could still play with cools and warms, to draw the eye.
Yeah. I love the drawings, man. The drawings are so freaking good.
All the angles in this too. You see this the ceiling and then the shadow going across.
Well, you saw my pages that I showed you the other stuff. Like I use a lot of lighting like this. You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly having like a light source from above that's framing and kind of moving the eye. You know, I kind of bend it to my will.
It keeps things interesting.
Yeah. That's funny. I really liked the gesture of the nanny kind of rearing back. I thought that was kind of nice.
It's also great how you could tell that they designed this house, but they still chose shots within it that are perfect for the shot that they're doing. Because like the angle of the roof, like that little section, it silhouettes her, but it's also pointing down at like the nanny, or the and she's perfect, and Cruella is perfectly kind of framed in that section of the wall behind her,
Right.
It's just really great composition.
I had to do an interesting scene yesterday, and I had never ever done this before, but I had a character standing on stage talking, and someone runs up from the crowd and punches him. But then photographers are taking photos, and I had to literally, what I did is, this wasn't even the shot I was drawing, but I put the guy on stage. I said, okay, the guy's running up on stage from here, the photographer's over here. Because as I was directing the other scenes, I really needed to know where those guys were standing.
Yeah.
To each other. It was kind of funny because I'd never had to do that before.
Oh, there's guys, like the first time I think I ever saw it might have been, oh, shoot. What's his name? McDaniel, Scott McDaniel.
Right.
He had like a bunch of his prelim stuff came out, and he had like diagrams of a set, where he was like showing the flow of action, like this whole scene that takes place over a couple scenes, over a couple pages, happens in this one location, and he charted it out in like a diagram of the set. And I was like, I'm too lazy for that, but it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you take a little bit of that idea, maybe if it's not completely to your personality. Like for me, I just did a quick sketch just to get a feel for what they would be, because I had a bunch of panels that I needed to draw with them.
Well, in regards to this, they're obviously mapping out, based on the script.
Yeah.
Because you could see they're exploring like every room in this house. But for various reasons. I love this cartoon.
The cartoon on the TV is so cool.
I love the style. It's a whole different style than the movie itself.
Yeah.
It's a much more like Disney style, but I would say it's more Don Bluth. Like I wish we could watch that little cartoon, because it looks like more like a Don Bluth cartoon.
Yeah. I fought the urge to do a bunch of screenshots of it because it's pretty redundant with the scene itself, but what was on the TV was good. I did less screenshots this time just because we missed, like we couldn't get through Aladdin last time, so I tried to be a little more judicious with the choices. But the shape language of the puppies and the dogs is very, very cool. They have exciting silhouettes.
I still draw dogs and all animals actually based on how Disney, because Disney did a lot of research where they have artists sitting out there with animals. And then they boil it down to just the barest essentials.
Yeah.
And like you could see that on the back of the puppy's legs, they have that little short line that goes to their elbow, and then it goes down, and then their hands are basically out like this. I still use that as the basis of all animal drawings that I'm doing. It's still the same, pretty much what they have here.
Yeah, no, I mean it's super effective. Oh, there's so much. This is nice.
It's really handy to simple. Oh gosh, their poses are so natural. They're walking.
Yeah, the colors on this I thought were really beautiful. Just this little touch of orange right here, and then this little sort of I don't know what you call it, like a yellow ochre or something, like real nice.
Man. Oh wait, let's see. Fraga was answering somebody. Jonathan Lopez. They were asking who was the animator of Cruella. The answer is Mark Davis. Yeah.
And again, there's just swatches of colors. They literally, like, it's just, you see there's all these shapes,
the way it works on that railing, they didn't even bother to color in the railing, but to me that would be a really close color to the background anyway, because it would be picking up the ambient light of those cools. So it kind of is colored, just being the same color as everything around it.
Yeah, it's funny, huh? This down here is really neat. Look at this area right here with these, it's like shape.
Just a little reflection, a little moisture on the the ground. Yeah, that's this simple shapes put together.
Crazy, right? Her little
but that line style and this coloring just reminds me of Electra Lives Again so much. I never put those two together, but that
when I saw that shot,
that's that quill. I'm wondering if they're inking this stuff with it. Well, no, it's pencil. We know it's pencil, right?
Yeah, but it's pencil and then Xeroxed, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, man, that makes me want to try some of that.
So good.
I just love their body language. Less so in this one shot. This is like an in between.
Yeah.
But their simple design and their body language.
Oh, what it was is I took this still because I actually really liked the car, and then I love that the bumper has been damaged. I thought that was
Their newspapers too look like real newspapers photocopied in.
Yeah.
Fanatic Room. That's interesting.
Fantastic Boom.
Oh, is that what that says?
Yeah, it says Fantastic Boom. Well, there's writing on the window here that says W.M. Fox proprietor. So
the guy that runs the shop that they're passing. That's for the detail right there.
I know, right?
You probably see that on the big screen, movie theater.
So this just had a very beautiful color to it. I loved how muted it was, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Aladdin, with just this kind of peachy color as the ambient light from outside.
I'm going to make a guess of what that gray is. I'm going to guess that gray is actually in the reds.
Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry.
It's in the blues. Yeah.
Okay, so
I was thinking it looked kind of warm.
It does look a little red to me. Hold on, let's see.
What about the back of the door? Because that's an actual cell. Yeah, still pretty much the same. But is there green in the floor? That looks like there's green in the floor.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's actually green.
Yeah, it's
yellow. Yeah, it'll be yellow greenish.
Sorry. So now this is reddish.
Is it. It's interesting because it's much more 1-to-1 than, because I'm all fooled by the stuff we were doing from Aladdin, where it's like you couldn't tell where that was.
I'm going to do an 11 by 11 pixel sample and see what it gets. So then now it stays really in the yellow. Wow, what the fuck? That's crazy. How is it not? Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at that. It's changing this color, but not the one above.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, because I changed the pixel sample while I was doing it.
Oh, okay.
Now it should work. Yeah, because I changed. See, now it's
yeah. Yeah, you can see it kind of shifting around.
So that
some of that could be artifacting from the the digital.
Yeah,
but still, it's close enough. I'm still amazed at how dark it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It just doesn't look that dark.
Oh, this is cool. His room is all messed up.
God, it's like it looks straight gray, like values of gray. Except for her. She looks like she actually has a little color in it. But
this right here looks like it's a similar color to her hair.
Yeah.
But again, look at how loose these cuts are on the color. Like that's the trumpet there, and it's another square shape around it.
Yeah. I really like it. It almost simplifies the noise of the drawing.
Yeah.
Because it's very noisy. I think if they'd have colored it every piece exactly right, it might look noisy. But then they simplify it by just adding this kind of block of color.
Yeah. So this is kind of it's a very desaturated purple, or like mid-range purple, and then this is a warmer color. So this is cooler and this is warmer. Interesting. Do you see that?
It's so subtle.
Yeah, but whatever light is coming from over here is heating them up.
It's almost straight gray though. I mean, it's so desaturated.
Wow, that's crazy. Very interesting.
Mm.
Muy interesante.
Pretty ballsy for back then.
I love this.
Great.
Look at that, how abstract the lighting is on the street.
God, man. That's like the product of that time. I mean, as a kid in the 80s, I was watching a lot of those cartoons rerun, like the Schoolhouse Rocks was done kind of in this style.
Yeah, it was, for sure.
Very sloppy.
Yeah, it's cool art, though.
I love it. I don't know. I think that it's almost like we refine it so much after a time that it becomes, what we are today. But I went through a whole thing where it's like, I was looking at X-Men that, Silvestri was doing. It's like, look how sloppy this is. How come we feel the need to like render the hell out of it and choke it off? And this is like a great example of that. I mean, this breeze, it has life, but it's not fine-tuned. It's fine-tuned in concept.
Yeah.
And then executed very, very fast. And
it doesn't look lazy. There's a student that I have on Patreon who's working in colors kind of like this. Hopefully he watches this video because this would be good shit for him to see. There's a few people. This is what I was trying to explain to people. A lot of times you can draw pretty good. Your ideas just aren't this interesting. And the thing is people think that they need to get better at actually like drawing specific objects. And it's like, no, you just need to pick better shots and more interesting angles. And
to accompany the story too, because this is when the dogs are lost. You see that it's overcast. It's after rain. It creates a lot of mood.
Yeah.
There's not any bright colors, and she looks alone. Calling out for these dogs or whatever was going on in that scene. So yeah, everything in this is to service the story as well.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I love the how the line work really drops out here, and you just have soft lines on everything back here.
Yeah, and it's it totally reads like just like one of those buildings. But
look at this, and then we get her. I love there's a shoe in the vase here. And then this is interesting too. She's got bottles of pills and tonics, and look at all the cigarettes. Wow.
And her purse has like tails on it.
Yeah,
she loves like animal stuff.
Yeah, it's so. Oh, look at her phone. Her phone actually has a little monster face on it. Do you see it? Looks like
a
bird. These are claws. The balls are claws.
Even her phone is evil.
Yeah, the cigarettes and the ashtray is funny. They would so never. Oh, look, she's got a cigarette right here on the banister.
It looks like she left it there and it burned away too.
Yeah. You know that one of the animators, because all these guys smoked.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious. Funny, right? That bright pink.
Yeah,
her shoe is in like the vase in the background.
I'm stuck in the banister of the bed had any kind of monsters in it too. It doesn't look to be. That's really, really funny. That cigarette on the banister is such a nice little touch. Oh yeah, this was cool.
That's so cool. The neon just pops.
Look, Triple X. What is going on?
Hey,
that's funny.
Yeah, those Disney artists,
right? Wow,
they get their joy in somewhere.
I love the shape language of the cars in this. It's really cool because they really play up. They stretch and squish them in a very interesting way, so it just looks pretty fun.
Like you could see the silhouette of the dog up on top of the roof of the car.
Yeah. They're both up there. Or is that the dogs?
Well, it's one of them. He's like talking to the dog up on.
Right. And this window is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's like a TV light or something way in the inside the building, and you could just see a little bit of it lit up.
Yeah, it's so cool. Oh my gosh, we have too much fun, Kelsey. Oh, look at that, the farm.
So good.
I like the fence, how uneven it is, and how it just it comes right to us.
I remember the study. It was for Disney Comics, but they were talking about how, you know, to create interest is doing things on different planes. So like, even if it's a Mickey Mouse walking, you know, down a road, he would be kind of on a hill, you know, as this own piece in the foreground. And then, you know, there'd be this hard line. And then the background, you'd see the road kind of dipping off into the background, you know, in this middle ground and then background area. So you're creating these levels, and you could totally see that here where they're breaking up the ground planes so that you got these hills. You can see it in the background, your horizon.
Yeah, well, I mean, and look, if you read this in a script and it said, okay, we cut to an exterior, there's going to be the dog next to a farm, you might think flat. Now you have where you go, okay, I could put it like on a little hill and have this like little, you know, bluff here. And I mean, this is a very creative idea. It's a creative solution to a drawing challenge. You know,
it's a static shot, and it's like, you got to make that interesting, you know, and that's interesting.
Yeah, it is really, really good.
I mean, my old go-to is to just put something in the foreground, middle ground, and background to create like a depth, but you know, to play with the landscape too like that is really creative.
I thought this was really, really fun. Not only shot, but I think the characterization of the animals is really cool.
Yeah,
they're just fun shapes.
There you can really see the roughness of the pencil in the fur.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like sketchy.
Man, so
wood.
So when they do animation like this, the background is on its own thing, and then the character animation is done on its own cell, right? Or so
so it's actually like cut off right at the edge of the. Sometimes they'll have layers in the foreground, like you see where the cat's tail is going behind the. More than likely, that's one solid background painting, and then they created that edge on the cell of the cat. But sometimes they'll have a piece put in the foreground to like overlay the animation, you know. But 9 times out of 10, I think they just do it that way. Just stop drawing, you know.
So generally speaking, then the backgrounds would be done first for animation.
No, I think that's where the layout guy comes in. I was talking about, I knew the head of layout for Disney in the 90s. And that's the first time I'd heard of that, but they have a guy who takes the storyboards and then they do very elaborate, like this shot right here. He would draw based on the storyboard, he would draw out this whole scene and the background as to compose the shot. Sometimes it's longer too if it's a panning shot. And then the animators are taking that and using that as their rough so that they can build their animation on top of that, while the background painter is taking that layout and doing the full painting.
Right.
So that's how it marries up, because you have this layout guy who establishes, okay, this is going to be the shot. Boom.
Right.
Now the animator's working over the rough version of that, and the background painter is finalizing it, and then they marry those two together, and then you got it.
You got magic.
Yeah. So the layout guy is kind of like your cinematographer, you know.
So this is another panning shot. It basically will it starts up high, although we're low in the scene looking up, but the shot drops down and it scrolls down. So you see this first, and it establishes the open door and the staircase, and then it's going to pull down to about where the knight's feet are.
Am I crazy, or does this look like a marker rendering with black line on it? I mean, that doesn't look like watercolor. That looks like marker.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I was looking at the yeah. Well, you know, it could be watercolor.
Well, that's one. Look at the texture of the wall to the left there. You kind of go down. It looks like strokes of a marker almost. But I don't know.
Mean, they might have done it. You know, maybe they needed this scene or they needed the shot. They would like knock it out fast.
Maybe. It's such an interesting shot, the composition of it all. You're saying like it moves, you're panning down, right?
Yeah. When you see, I have the next panel, so you'll see now we're by the statue. It's killer, man. It's so freaking good. Look at the cobwebs that they did on the statue's feet.
It's like a little bit of light kind of hidden.
Yeah. Oh god, it's so good. Fuck,
See,
man.
that looks like what you're talking about, where they, if they did it like I was talking about, where they painted it on a blue line and they had the black line on top, it looks like the spider webs were then done. Oh, well, no, it doesn't look like they actually drew the line art there.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like it's pulled out a little bit. You can see a little bit of cobwebs over here on his arm too.
But it's behind the black there. So yeah, I guess.
Let's see.
Yeah, I was trying to see if they put anything over the black line overlay, but that looks like it's behind the black.
I'll show you.
But that looks like it's in front of the black, but then again, it doesn't look like they put black there. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I love that mixing up stuff like that to where you can't read. It's like, how did they do this? I don't know.
Man, this just is like I was such a big fan of Scooby-Doo as a kid.
Yeah,
and the backgrounds on Scooby-Doo were so kick-ass. Look at this panel.
It's very close to this in its overall feel.
So this is like good. The puppy kidnappers with all the puppies. So funny.
How many of us would go straight like orange with firelight, and they're doing these pinks and peaches and reds, and it still reads like a dim firelight maybe.
I love that they put on the cartoon
TV
for the puppies to shut them up. That's so funny.
It just makes me want to watch this again, because I bet you the TV is over there flicking shots, right? Is it?
Oh yeah.
Animation going on.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And oh man, it's so good.
A lot of these big shots require a lot of animation.
Look at how this is just so different.
Yeah, that foggy feeling that softens everything up.
Yeah, there's no hard lines on this. There's none of the sketchiness. It's just this beautiful upshot.
Yeah, that is very different than the rest. That's almost like a Bambi, soft watercolor.
The trees back here are so cool looking too. They're really drooping. It's almost like the moisture. It's similar to what you talked about with the guy's clothes, where it's almost like the dampness is pulling the branches down with its weight.
Well, and also to keep it in the storytelling context, it's a sad, this is the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, where they're all at their lowest. So everything in the scene is dramatizing that.
Yeah, good call, Kelsey. I like that.
Again, everything is dramatizing the mood of it all.
But the what's funny is the branches on the trees are a little more perky, so it's almost like there's hope now. There's a little bit of spike in energy.
Well, maybe because they're getting news.
Yeah,
I think they're in this farm over here or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch this tonight. I haven't seen this in ages. This is so, man. I love going away for a while and then coming back to something, and you're seeing all new stuff.
Look at this. The lighting on that lamppost is very cool.
Yeah, it's a lens effect. That's really interesting that they would do a lens flare. Yeah. I guess because we're good. Oh, there's like little bits of lightness back there. Yeah.
So warm. What do you think? This is good shit, huh?
I would put this on my wall. Like, that is a great painting. Almost any of these shots, but that is a great one right there. Yeah. You'd call it like meeting or a clandestine meeting or something like that.
Okay. There's more good stuff coming. Oh, look at it. He's so serious.
I love these grays too, man. It's making me want to play more with muted tones.
Yeah.
But you have to use it in a storytelling context, But that warmness, again, that's not white. That's like a really soft yellow orange.
Let's do the eyedropper. We can do this. So
that's going to be such a dark color for a light,
Yeah.
Oh, it's still pretty high up there. Wow.
Well, I'm doing 11 by 11 pixel sample, so
still it's a lot more white than I would have imagined. because it looks very like
dog
deep.
is a very low saturated blue, and his mouth is almost a black purple. His tongue.
See, I would just, I mean, I know that they spend a lot of time discovering the colors of the shadow colors, but and in today's time, especially because you have no time to be messing around with that, you just color him your base tone.
It was watch as I move the eyedropper. What it does here, it's going to move diagonally from these low saturations up to this yellow. But watch what it does. It's really interesting. Let me start here. Watch as I move closer to the light. How it'll move.
Goes up diagonally.
Watch, it starts to go diagonal, right? Like here, it really starts to do it. But it's pretty like
it's going more saturated.
Yeah, it's funny. And there's the bands of color, so it kind of drifts back for a second, but it really moves right to that spot. It's interesting.
Yeah, but if you color that dog like how he is in a perfect lighting situation, like how he's supposed to look, and then just put an overlay of like a bluish gray, you know, it would tint everything like that.
I thought this was pretty cool.
I used to want to live on one of those boats.
This panel and the next panel have very, very cool small reeds. There's a very strong strength to this shape right here that makes it powerful, and you'll see the next shot that I chose has a very similar sort of vibe to it. It's not super noticeable when you zoom in on it, but man, the silhouette reads of these is like, man, it's rock solid.
I use diffusion a lot to create depth. My favorite thing is like a Mignola shot where everything is very flat. You know, and the background is, you know, everything, even if it's far away in the background, it's almost the same size as the stuff in the foreground. But then you use depth of field like this to really drop everything back. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
That fog.
Yeah. This was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't have a lot of readability far away, but still.
Yeah, it was a little. It was funny as I saw the detail on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." But you know, it's always interesting to see different things.
Like they had like a little bit of light coming on the horizon. Yeah, look at that. There's hope.
Yeah, this little bit of pink coming across the snow here, and then hitting the water, and then the sky. Man, that's so nice.
God, it really focuses you. This is a great lesson in the use of desaturated versus saturated.
Yeah. What I was saying is the End of Blaster Kid starts to head this direction where it gets kind of in that sort of mood.
Hey, Fragaboom, $1.99. Rich, check your email.
Okay, I will. He's sending me pencils virtually.
Oh, nice.
Check it now, Dan, or later. Let me know now or later. Oh, this is cool.
Later. I used to eat those now or later.
Now and later? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so great. And you don't have to do much for water. I mean,
yeah, I'm sorry.
You'd have a lot of splashes and stuff.
Oh, this is great. I love the color on this.
Yeah, it kind of goes a little more warm because the light's starting to come up.
So. Yeah, well, look at these trees, how they're painted over here. There's like a lot of really interesting kind of ambient like light being suggested in some weird way, or like color. Like I'm getting like weird bounce back color.
Fragaboom says no.
Oh, okay. Here, let me look. I'm gonna check on my phone. Yeah. You keep talking about this, Kelsey. What like you this is like a little bit of a Michael Goldenish palette, yeah?
No, not at all. Michael Golden is like he's bright colors.
Okay.
He burns your eye sockets out with the but you know, he's equally as smart with color and like balancing cools and warms and but I don't see him dealing with a desaturated palette often. I would say this stuff is more in the of course, Lynn Varley, who colored Electroliz again with Frank Miller, but also Matt Hollingsworth. Matt Hollingsworth is really good at doing with these desaturated tones.
This reminded me a little bit of some of the early stuff that I would see you color in a way. a little bit. Just the color choices, like that kind of turquoisey greenish blue.
Oh yeah, I love that. I balance the cool. I always throw in some oranges and stuff to, to have some pops. I love this though. But I mean, you see the grays, but with the purples and the pink. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
I didn't realize when it came back to this scene that it's the fireplace creating this pinkish color. But that's this is the same. This is that same scene with the, whatever you want to call it, the fuchsia fireplace colors.
My eyes going right to this crack in the wall by where the door, where the light's just kind of hitting. Right here. Yeah, it's like, why is that illuminated? That one little crack in the wall.
I like stuff like that, though. But yeah. Oh, it is. So it is a crack in the wall. That's funny. I thought it was. I didn't even know what I thought it was.
Wait, zoom into the detail on the wall there next to it. Ah, see, that is really elaborately drawn. That little detail in the
this right here.
and the frame. Like sometimes I want to do that, but it takes forever, so I'll just quickly do a doodly scratch. But man, look at that bottle; it's not even colored.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
But it's glass. You read through it,
Well, that is true. That is true. Dan sent me more files, so when we finish this, we'll peek real quick and see what he sent. But he said that he sent me something to download, but I'm kind of stuck in this frame right now. So this was very, very cool. I love the flashlight actually overlay.
Yeah, and it's not that bright, but where it is and the source of it is.
Yeah,
you still read them so clear because they're so dark.
This is nice too. This light back here, the blue.
The way they organize this is so good because you could tell that the light is coming up, especially from the scenes before where the dogs are coming out, and that looks like morning light just starting to kind of creep in the windows in the background.
Oh yeah, you could be right. Well, this is beautiful right here. This little splash of color right here, and then the bright on the stairs, the top planes of the stairs is real cool.
Yeah, gosh, so good.
Blue and
green.
Okay.
It's just blue and yellow, really.
There's some really, really cool shots coming up. This is cool. So that's I don't know if this is the same staircase as we were looking at before. I don't think it is, actually.
I remember loving the animation of these guys because they had that, where there's a lot of overlap where like they're moving up and then their arm, that kind of thing. There's a lot of like movement in these guys. Yeah,
and they did the classic thin guy, fat guy team up.
Yeah. Like us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not thin.
I'm the thin guy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not that thin. I'm trying thinner. This is cool.
Yeah. Again, the light's still coming up. It's getting a little more bright. It's also like a ticking clock because their nefarious deeds are done in the dark.
Right. That's very profound too, Kelsey. little rugrat running away from him in the hallway. This is nice. I love all the paintings on the wall. I'm a huge fan of the Haunted Mansion at Disney.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with like haunted house type looking stuff. I always think it's so fun.
This is a trick I do with almost every paint. I put a lot of like little squares, and I don't necessarily have to put anything in it, but a lot of times I'll have at least one coming off the wall because it's got the wire, and that adds so much just going off perspective a little bit to have it leaning off the wall. Yeah,
good call. It's got like I love the scene in one of the Harry Potter movies with all that staircase.
Yeah. That's so great with the kind of greenish, the warmer color.
It looks steep. That looks like that's a decent wall. That would hurt. The banister is so messed up. It's so funny.
It makes me wonder if they did any real perspective work on this or if it was all just eyeballed.
Could be eyeballed. I mean, I definitely don't think that there's one specific vanishing point. It's definitely
if you look at the stairs down there and then the very edge of the stairs going down, they're all on plane. But like this angle is so steep, it makes you think that if you look at it in reality, it would be like, almost vertical.
It looks like they fudged this wall right here because this all seems to work together, but this is actually starting to sit at a different angle. just a little bit. This is nice too. It's funny because you can almost feel that there's like wire inside of these, and the weight of that it's fallen apart. These two pieces are still stuck together, so
Yeah.
they're leaning at the same angle. It's actually really cool. Nice little subtle touch.
It's almost like, yeah, perfectly in perspective with some of those other lines.
Yeah, man, these
Yeah.
guys are good.
A
It's
lot of energy.
it's incredible that they like these guys were so. Oh, this is cool. So experienced. And it's interesting. So now there's real fire and it's turned red and yellow, like the color
Yeah.
you expect.
Save the hottest for the actual flame, you know,
Yeah.
the bright yellow.
Some of this has reminiscent, and I don't know why, to Disney's Atlantis. You know, the Mignola thing. I don't know why.
Well, they weren't very graphic with it. Actually, they were doing, even though the backgrounds in that looked like they were done digitally, they were using a lot of those shapes to cut in the value instead of having grads.
Yeah.
Wow, that has a lot of texture. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's weird. That almost looks like 3D somehow.
Yeah, there was a few shots like that in here. I mean, obviously it couldn't be, but yeah, like soft focus and stuff like that. Definitely.
Well, the rocks too pick up the light. It really, the way they did those.
Well, that's clearly painted. Like
yeah,
like matte, or what do you call it? Like what do they call the backgrounds? Matte.
Matte. Yeah, well, that's for live action. Yeah, matte paintings. That's very well done. And the inside of the house having the firelight.
And this is cool. The one window with a little bit of touch of magic going on. And this over here too. Oh my God. I thought this was kind of cool because they put a little bit of color in this guy's eye. Do you see it's like a little bit kind of amberish, or like it's got a little bit of warmth to it.
Yeah, the other guy too. A little warm just to kind of pop him out from the background, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always do the eyes or any white ambient, based on whatever, if it's cool or if it's warm, you kind of go cool or warm with your whites. But I guess so that it doesn't blend in with the blue of the background, everything on that truck is kind of warm.
Yeah, I love this one headlamp with the crooked thing. It's so funny.
Yeah, it describes them, they're just a little crooked.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, we got just a few more to go. Oh, this is a great sequence. She crashes her car, but man, I've got a couple of stills of the accident. It's pretty incredible.
Gosh, that green, blue, and purple. I mean, the warm green.
Yeah,
that's something you don't think about putting together, but look how well that looks together. I mean,
see, now as a Southern California boy, I don't
see that often.
Yeah, well, this right here, I think is a nice touch. Is the way that the snow sits on top of these. It wouldn't be something I would ever think of, but it just builds up and creates those kind of pillow effects on top of things. It's very, very cool.
So good. Even her headlights are mean.
Yeah. Like, well, this looks like a face.
Yeah, it does.
A piranha or something. So.
And the tree branch is kind of directional too, like it's pointing.
Well, you got to have like the creepy branches that look like they're trying to reach out at stuff. I always think Joe Mad did that in Battle Chasers. Oh yeah, so this is I thought this was a really cool shot. This reminds me a little bit of one of the Final Fantasy games. There's a cul-de-sac in one of the Final Fantasy games where you fight Sephiroth, I think. But yeah, it's kind of cool. This is really cool. Love the design of the houses.
Yeah, this has got to be set. I mean, obviously, this is New York.
No, it's supposed to be England, I think.
Oh, is it England? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah,
I think it's like an American writer in England.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm nearly sure.
This is like much more old world. I mean, it looks like German, like old Austrian,
Yeah. Yeah, you could go and get like some sort of strudel and then beer.
Yeah. What does that sign say?
It says The Welcome Return.
Return. Yeah, it's a bar. Pub.
Yeah. The Welcome. Beer sounds good. I could go for a nice cold beer.
Yeah. Oh God, that does sound good.
There's certain times in the year, like when it starts to get hot here, just like, man, I just want I like to get my beer almost like where it's like a slush.
Oh God, that sounds good.
In the freezer and then get them super cold.
We'll have to do a beer show.
Yeah, that was fun.
We could look at like art on beer, just as an excuse to drink beer.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny is when I did the interview with Lee, because it was nighttime for him, he was having wine, and I was like, it's a little too early in the day for a cocktail here.
So good.
So London.
Yeah, I love these the pink and the it's so striking.
Yeah, very, very cool. Okay, her car accident is coming up soon. Oh, we're almost at the end. Oh, this is cool. I like the color.
Good. Need to get something to eat and a beer.
Yeah. Right.
This is great.
I'm going to pencil the last 7 pages of my heavy metal story and then ink them later, because I've been kind of doing them in small batches.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm laying out the rest of the pages. I'm going to pencil them and then I'm going to ink them. So
nice. Today?
No, I think by tomorrow I could have. It takes me like 2 to 3 hours to pencil a page. I'm fast with it, and then the heavy lifting comes from finishing it. But I wish that the pages went that fast. They don't go that fast.
Yeah.
3 hours gets enough of a layout down that I can sort of force my way through it.
Oh man, I'm lucky if I get a figure done in 3 hours right now. But
well, it's funny. I have to do a fight scene right now, but it's a short fight scene. But man, I cannot get the punch and the reaction. Yeah. I've got the reaction really good, but I've tried the punch like 8-10 different times, and I still don't have one that I like. So her car disintegrates. It's funny because she crashes into the snow down here, and it's really, really a cool sequence.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it even looks like they rotoscoped the snow.
Yeah, this actually looks like a photo superimposed in a weird way.
Yeah, because the crispness of the snow in the car, it makes the background look a little out of focus too, and the foreground because of there's like a doubling.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It has a lot of depth.
They might have taken a photograph of snow and then sort of used it through this area right here.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
I love that technique. I just say it has such a great quality. Where they like make models and then photocopy. I think I don't know about the snow, but I know the car it was like white and it had all the edges lined out. So that when they filmed it, they actually animated it and then rotoscoped it, and they had all the lines on the car.
Now, did they exaggerate the shape? It seems very long.
Yeah, I think there's pictures of it out there of the model. It's exactly like that. Yeah, they modeled it out. They actually made it. I don't know if they did that for the other guy's car, and I don't know if they did it for this stuff. This is probably all hand animated stuff.
So now she drives it out of the snow, and the car is like completely like falling apart.
Yeah, I remember loving this scene. Just the madness of it.
What's funny is it broke the teeth off the front of the car. Oh, they're right here. They're right here on the bumper.
She's funny. Rendered toothless at this point.
That's funny. But yeah, there they are right there. That's really trippy.
Yeah, I want to see this all moving because the trees, they just look like some scribbles, but she's breaking through all the branches right there.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool. Man, the car is just coming apart.
And how dark that is. It's so perfect, the color. There looks like motion blur on the snow even, but I know there's not, but it just really looks like it's moving.
Yeah.
It actually there kind of is on the branches and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a screenshot, so maybe the animation was flying by fast enough that it blurred.
Yeah, the digital sometimes will blur 2 frames together.
How many frames a second is an animation? Do you know?
Well, it's all 24, but Disney often works on ones, which is every frame is a different drawing. So
Okay.
they're 24 frames a second. They're doing 24 drawings every second. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So animation in Japan's typically done on 4s. So it's a new drawing every 4 frames.
Okay. And then this was the last screenshot that I had. So
yeah,
there we go.
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful film.
Yeah, that was fun. I think I want to see what Dan sent, but we're kind of running out of time. It's noon, and I definitely got to get to work. But we'll revisit what Dan sent at the front end of the next video.
Okay. All right, which it has everything to do with this. It's the pencil that Milt Kahl used to draw this story.
I'll download it real quick and see what it is. You keep talking. I'll grab it.
This is definitely making me want to. I'm really weird in that I have what I'm working on, and it occupies most of my focus. And then I like to tinker with stuff on the side because it keeps my imagination flowing, so I don't get too hemmed up on my main project, because sometimes you'll get stuck in a corner.
Yeah.
So this is making me want to experiment with some of those loose background colors and the way they're doing it, and some of that the desaturated cool colors and next to very saturated warm colors.
Okay.
I just love the look of all that.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, we'll take a peek at this real quick. This is some cool shit. It'll just take a second. We'll give this just a few minutes.
Hans Roger says limited animation Hanna-Barbera style. Yeah, Hanna. I actually really love the look of limited animation. So
okay, we'll open these. We're not going to be able to go through all of these because this would take forever, but we'll take a quick peek at this. He sent a big folder full of shit. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, and let me go back to StreamYard. All right.
Leg Kick was answering somebody talking about Gene Colan's art was kind of like this. I do think that. I think because he did his stuff earlier on didn't look like that, but then in the 60s and stuff.
Okay, so he's got okay, it says who did what frame. So this is Johnston, Les Clark.
Yeah, Ollie Johnson, and I forget the other guy. There's 2 guys that are showing up in all of Brad Bird's movies.
Yeah.
One of them's Ollie Johnson.
This is nice because we don't need to go in order. So then let's check out a little more. So this is a little bit more of this. He's got it's a big folder, but this is cool. Wow. Incredible.
Les Clark. That's one I don't know. That's interesting. They all kind of shared. Look at that. Oh, mostly Mark Davis. It's all Mark Davis when it comes to the the Cruella.
Art Stevens, camera cut. Man, this is crazy. So Dan must be privy to some sort of storyboard magic kingdom. Like this.
Or he's a big nerd.
Yeah. Knowing Dan, he might have done all this himself.
Yeah.
While he was sharp.
That's great. Well, this is so fun because, I know on YouTube there are collections of videos by different Japanese animators, because in Japan they'll have mostly done by nobodies, and then they'll have a sequence done by a really awesome animator, and those bits are compiled into video collections of all the best animated bits, and this is along similar lines where it's if you're really focused on one animator's work, this is great.
Yeah, Don Lusk does some cool shit. I'm feeling Don Lusk's moody atmosphere. He did the that outside with the fog that we were enjoying.
Well, these are just the animators, not necessarily the background guys, but
okay, I see.
There's whole teams.
Sure. Okay, so then let's get to. I want to show you something else really quick that he had. Okay, so these are cool story.
See, this looks like a layout drawing, like what I was talking about, where a storyboard guy will draw a quick doodle of them running through a scene or whatever, and then the layout guy has to do a nice detailed drawing of the background.
Right. And if you look, I had remarked on this. This is actually slightly different than the movie. This is rounded. the one in the movie is more octagonal shaped.
See, man, I would love to dig through like Disney's archives on just their layouts, because their layouts are beautiful like this.
Dude,
the first time I really took note of layout was in Lilo and Stitch. Had these beautiful charcoal renderings of the layouts.
Look at this. Dude,
yeah,
Dan, thank you so much for sending this over. This is incredible.
Oh, this is great. This is almost like exactly what I was talking about. You got your story art, which is very loose, and they kind of give you an idea, and the layout guy has to go in and figure out the actual shot.
And they're nice little drawings. I mean, this shot of the dog right here is quite nice.
Yeah, I love that, the looseness of it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, this is so cool. Man,
I had some Roger Rabbit stuff like this.
Yeah, I collect the Disney books, like the art ofs, but it doesn't get as minutiae as this. This is great too. Damn.
That looks like a cutout. Like they cut out the dog and placed him on top. Almost.
Yeah.
It's got a real 3-dimensional feel.
Wow. It's amazing. Oh, this is so fun. I could do this all day.
It would take me a good several days to draw that background that they had.
Yeah.
To reference all the stuff in the room. Oh my god. Yeah, no wonder these take years to make. Back in the day,
you know, and I've been around comic books so long, but I have such a deep appreciation for the amount of information that pencilers need to juggle to do their job efficiently. It's incredible the amount of responsibility placed on a penciler's shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing like what Disney's doing. They have 10 different guys doing the work of one penciler.
When I had said to you, I think in the last video, it's like, you know, maybe 2 weeks earlier, you drew some scene in like a room or at an event, and then you work on different scenes, and then all of a sudden you come back to it, and it's like, I don't remember how I drew the freaking cocktail party. Like, I don't know.
You gotta go back.
Lee and I were talking about that too, but it's like, as an inker, you never deal with any of that. I never have to worry about, like, is the button on that guy's shirt right, or was he wearing a tie or not, or
pencilers don't usually worry about it either.
Right.
As an inker, I can attest to that.
Well, you can you see how these guys mess up, and then people go, "Oh, look, like the cup on the table keeps moving every scene."
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, old school masters like Ozu, master filmmaker, he used to move things on the set, and he goes like, I don't care if it's continuity, it looks good in this shot.
Right. Yeah. The flower pots moving all around.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh well, a little bit can go. Yeah, a little bit you can fudge.
Is Dan in the comment section? Dan, where did you?
Yeah, he's still there.
Dan, where did you get this?
Well, it's probably like in comics. I remember when I was getting into comics, they were passing around photocopies and faxes of Mignola's sketch work for Iron Wolf and things like that. I had like Adam Hughes sketches before everybody started doing sketchbook stuff.
Right.
You know, people would be passing these around. So I bet in animation circles, that's how I ended up with some of the Roger Rabbit cartoon layout stuff, because I worked on Jimmy Neutron.
Right.
And suddenly, like, photocopies of all that old stuff started becoming available.
It's just crazy that there's like these are like photographs with push pins in them.
Yeah, that's interesting. He probably digs. He's a real searcher like us. So digs.
For sure. I know. Well, we could tell from I think the pencil collection said it all.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like I said, if for guitar players out there, Joe Bonamassa is like the guy when it comes to like gear. He has like everything times 5 and knows some weird tweed amp that they built, you know, for 3 days in 1931.
Yeah, these are man. This some of the pencils we looked at were used for this. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Maybe even some of the ones he had. When you guys were talking about Kirby, I was like, does he have an actual Kirby pencil? I mean, that would be
you remember the shot in the movie?
Yeah.
But it's funny.
God, it's so brilliant. They convey so much with just graphite.
Yeah. Well, and this is a good example for any patrons or people that I've actually given like artistic advice to. Do you remember that I've told people, I said, it's not necessarily how well you draw, but how interesting your ideas are. I think this piece in particular is a really good example of that. Is you don't need monster chops necessarily to create an image that can kind of represent an idea like this. There's some perspective involved in this. I'm not going to like underplay it, but overall, what's impressive about this is the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, your ideas are really what gets you, because like I've seen some books that, some books that are super well drawn but are just totally boring.
Yeah.
And then you see stuff like this, but it's, I don't know, it's just so compelling because of the ideas behind it.
It's such a fun shape. Just right here, this alone creates a sense of depth. This hill has got form to it that's suggested, and this path. Mm-hmm. And then there's stuff in the distance that's fun, and the tree is neat, But yeah, I mean,
it's obvious that in the storytelling, they're setting up the future, the optimism of the what's to come, in their lives.
Yeah,
there's probably a big sunset there, right?
Yeah,
or sunrise, probably. No.
Yeah. Knowing this movie, it's probably dark gray and green.
Yeah, it's all foggy. What is London?
Yeah, that's just cute.
Oh, that's that one shot, and look how it's turned into the way it was turned in. They pulled the camera way back. Well, maybe this is the shot right before it.
That sweeping perspective here with the slightly arced lines, so it smooths out. But
this is usually like I hate how my sketches look great like this, and then you do the final version and it's like all the life gets sucked out of it. But this is a great example of how they retain a lot of the life, in the final product, the looseness.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Some of the really great artists, like pencilers that I've been around, if you would see their sketches for things, a lot of times, I mean, they really were more of an outline of the amount that they wanted something to go in, and then they figure out the detail based on this, as opposed to a constructive method where you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do a mannequin, it's going to be doing this thing. They don't really draw like that. Those are training wheels to get you to the point where you can go in and do
that's pretty much how I do it, like that. That's it. And then you just refine it. I find that when I'm doing all the musculature first, it's so stiff, and then I just erase it and redo it anyway.
When I could never finish drawings that way. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah. No, it's just gesture drawing. This is why it's really good when you see guys that just go sit at a coffee shop and just sketch people. You're just looking for gesture, and movement.
I would read a comic book that looks like this, and the dog.
I would too.
The dog's legs are literally sticks.
I would too in a hot second. It's just so interesting looking to me.
Yeah, but it's the shot. The shot is interesting. It's very. Yeah.
In fact, I'm ready to go draw. This is like killing me.
Okay, so we could do this forever, but Dan, thank you so much for sending that over. And we definitely let's have Dan back when we do. We'll do Black Cauldron.
Oh, for sure. I gotta dig out my old pencils, see if I got anything worth a ding.
That was fun, man. Woo!
Yeah, that was great. I really that's a full show.
I have shots for days now in my head.
This will be a fun one to watch back because a lot going on in this one.
Yeah, and we had a 45-minute pencil tutorial.
For all those eBayers out there, see if you got any pencils.
That was all that I kept thinking was Dan's giving away his secret. Now everyone's going to be on eBay fighting him for pencils.
Not as long as they're $10 for a friggin' pencil. Never mind. I'll get mine at Walmart.
Right. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I will put a link to if you want to hop right into the 101 Dalmatians, as I like to call it. All right, everyone have a great day. We'll be back next week with who knows, something good.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. We'll have to figure that out now. Something, maybe a whole new direction, maybe.
Yeah, whatever we want. I let the wind blow me where it may.
All right. Well, that was a blast.
Okay,
see you
bye,
guys.
everyone. We're gonna end the broadcast here.
Later.